Airsoft guns, a frying pan, college athletes, and an alleged gambler. How are they all connected?
It's a story a lot of people are talking about even across the country, and it's a story we first broke about an incident that sent several University of Florida football players to the school's student conduct department.
And First Coast News' Juliet Dreyer joins us live tonight from Gainesville with an update on the story, Juliet, that has now gone national.
It has, and you know, this 17-page police report outlines the confrontation between the football players and that alleged gambler who goes by the nickname Tay-Bang. The report alleges that two of the football players, Kadarius Toney and Kyrie Campbell, were carrying airsoft guns that looked like assault rifles. 4 of their teammates were also recommended to the Student Conduct and Conflict Resolution Department for allegedly lying to police about the incident. The police report names Devontae Zachary, who goes by the name Tay-Bang, as being on the other side of the confrontation. UF tight end Ciante Lewis told police he and Zachary had a good relationship until the Gators started losing, and then, quote, Tay-Bang would call them garbage and would complain about losing money after he bet on football games. Now, why is that important? The Players Association with a known gambler could mean trouble with the NCAA. UF head football coach Dan Mullen released a statement today saying, quote, we were made aware of the incident when it occurred and immediately began following campus protocol. This has been an opportunity for us to educate our players about the dangers and negative perceptions that can occur when conflict arises and how important honesty and good decision making is. We did speak with Zachary, aka Tay-Bang, on the phone earlier today, and he said we only got one side of the story, so we asked him multiple times to share his side of the story. He did not, and then he stopped taking our phone calls. Reporting live in Gainesville, Juliet Dreyer, First Coast News, on your side.